By 1899, the West, in Red Dead Redemption 2 of course, is home to many, many criminals, but perhaps one stands out among the rest. A vicious outlaw unlike any other. Charismatic in leadership, he was loved by those who followed him and hated by those who hunted him, and also those who fell victim to him. He was an idealistic, ambitious man who always had a plan. I am of course talking about Dutch van der Linde, the leader of the Van der Linde gang. But what's his backstory? What are his origins? Well, that's what we're going to be exploring in today's video. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy the origins of Dutch van der Linde. Dutch was born somewhere near Philadelphia in 1855 to an unnamed father of Dutch descent and Greta van der Linde. During the American Civil War, Dutch's father fought for the Union, and it's implied that he died in battle at the Battle of Gettysburg, which took place at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, between the 1st and 3rd of July 1863, when the young Dutch was around 8 years old. As a result of his father's demise, presumably by the hands of the Confederates, Dutch developed a deep grudge against Southerners. Dutch was an unruly, disobedient child who desperately wanted his independence and seldom got along with his own mother, putting a strain on their relationship. At the age of 15, in 1870, Dutch left his home and quickly developed appreciation for the values of freedom and liberty above all else, dreaming of living an independent existence for the rest of his days, and would slowly come to see the civilized world as corrupt and encroaching on his freedom, seeing society as sleepwalking slaves who really have no clue that the freedom their nation is founded on is a lie, developing anarchist worldviews that would later aid him as he began his life of crime. On the road to Chicago during the mid-1870s, Dutch happened upon a man named Hosea Matthews at a campfire. Being a conman, Matthews attempted to swindle Dutch, while Dutch simultaneously robbed Hosea. In the end, both found themselves impressed with the other's skills and gall, and the pair laughed and decided to become friends, before long partnering up, and this is arguably where the Van der Linde gang was founded.
Good old Dutch. My best friend. You know how we met? Pair of hucksters trying to rob each other. By a fire just like this, on the road to Chicago back in, when was it, 78 or thereabouts. Woo. More than 20 years. We ain't dead yet, not quite. Oh, Dutch was something special back then. I guess he's something special now. I thought I could con the paint off a wall, but he was good. He was good. I'd spun him this yarn about a mile long about my daddy, the ambassador, and would he help me find my way back to Paris, France, when all of a sudden I looked and my money and my gun had disappeared. We laughed and said we'd face the future together. Here we're at, facing something together, I guess. Though who knows exactly what.
Dutch and Hosea later wound up in Kettering, Ohio, where they posed as international merchants and conned locals into buying $300 worth of shares in a Portuguese shipping company that actually didn't exist, being discovered and apprehended by the Sheriff Carmichael, and on the 9th of March 1877, the pair managed to escape their cell, tying up the sheriff and then robbing him too. Later, in 1877, Dutch and Hosea would meet a 14-year-old street orphan named Arthur Morgan, taking Arthur into their care, teaching him how to fight, hunt, read, write, shoot, and ride a horse. Becoming their first protege, The three would go on to be the formal founding members of the Van der Linde gang, and Dutch would begin instilling his anarchist views into the young Arthur Morgan. Around this time frame, Dutch also became romantically involved with a woman named Susan Grimshaw. The relationship was short-lived, as Dutch later became romantically involved with a woman named Annabelle. In 1881, Dutch's mother, Greta van der Linde, passed away, though Dutch wouldn't find out about this until years down the line, after being told by an uncle of some variety.
Did I ever tell you my mother's buried in Blackwater?
Really? She is?
Apparently so. I only found out from an uncle of mine years later. Last I knew, she was still outside Philadelphia. I left home at 15 and didn't see her again. She and I didn't always see eye to eye. I wasn't always a very obedient child.
I can only imagine.
Still, I loved her in my own way, and she me in hers. Somehow, even from the grave, she managed to have the last laugh.
In the years that followed, Dutch would meet Colm O'Driscoll, the leader of the O'Driscoll Boys gang, forming a partnership that was uneasy and doomed to fail from the start. Dutch disapproved of how Colm treated his men, like they're disposable, and Colm in turn disapproved of Dutch's approach to leading his gang, mocking his ideals and philosophy. However, for a brief time the two gangs remained civil. For unknown reasons, Dutch broke their truce and killed Colm's brother. Colm, in retaliation, killed Annabelle, Dutch's lover, which angered Dutch and turned these two allied gangs into the bitterest of enemies, and a blood feud followed that lasted years. In 1885, Dutch would stumble across a group of Illinois homesteaders attempting to hang a 12-year-old boy named John Marston. His crime? Stealing from them. Dutch stopped the execution and saved John's life, taking him in and inducting him into the Van der Linde gang. Much like with Arthur Morgan, Dutch and Hosea would teach John how to read, to write, to hunt, to shoot, to fish, not to swim, he never figured that one out, and to ride a horse. John and Arthur would form a brother-like bond, and Hosea and Dutch would refer to Arthur and John as their favourite sons. In 1887, the Van der Linde gang carried out its first major bank robbery, making off from the banking house of Lee and Hoyt with $5,000 in gold. After making off with the money, they lingered in town and handed out portions of this sum to those who needed it, envisioning themselves as Robin Hood-like figures, vindicating the ideals, or at least the facade, that Dutch initially founded his gang on. In the years that followed, the Van der Linde gang would grow in size. Dutch would recruit new members: Bill Williamson, Javier Escuela, Sean Maguire, Lenny Summers, Charles Smith, Micah Bell, in no particular order there, I must say. By this point, Dutch had developed into being altruistic and idealistic, believing that his gang could make a difference as these Robin Hood fashioned figures, stealing from the wealthy who had plenty of money and giving it to the destitute, the poor and the needy. He viewed himself as a champion of the people, opposing the government's control and corporate exploitation of the working class, and a punisher of general human cruelty and avarice, developing something of a romanticized image. That, compounded with his charisma, inspired his gang to share an anarchistic vision of a savage utopia, committing violent crimes such as murder and robbery to pursue that end. By 1899, this guise of a romanticized Western Robin Hood would begin to fade. That or Dutch realized the encroachment of civilization made his ideals increasingly unrealistic, but delving into the psyche of this man is a topic for another video. And that brings us to the events of Red Dead Redemption 2. So there you have it, I suppose, the origins of Dutch van der Linde. Thank you all for watching this video. I really hope that you've enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share the channel with your friends and all that wonderful stuff. That would be super fantastic. Let me know what you'd like to see me doing next. Furthermore, be sure to go ahead and hit subscribe over on Decades. It recently hit 3,000 subscribers and is now in full swing with content releasing regularly. So definitely check it out. If you like history, of course. If you don't, then no worries, forget about it. Anyway, with any luck, I'll be seeing you all very soon with another video at some point, but until next time, please do take care and goodbye.